Real quickly, I want to touch on how the transfer portal in college football is diluting the talent that we have entering the NFL draft. Because I've been listening to a lot of draft analysts and scouts talk about the upcoming 2025 draft class, and most of those guys are saying that this is one of the worst draft classes in terms of talents that we have had since the 2013 NFL draft. And I believe the huge reason for that is because of the transfer portal. Because in this new age of name, image, and likeness, you have guys who are transferring, who are chasing the bag instead of chasing the right program who can develop them. If you have a player who is a highly touted 5 or 4 star recruit coming out of high school and he doesn't start right away his freshman year, what does he do? He hits the portal and he goes elsewhere. And because of this, you have guys who are not developing, they're not learning the proper fundamentals, they're not learning the proper technique, and they also aren't mentally tough enough to handle the grind of the NFL, because anytime adversity hits, what do? They run to the transfer portal. And with the transfer portal having so many teams that are going in it to find guys who are already proven, guys that they don't really have to put too much time in developing, player development in college football is no longer a priority, because these coaches aren't really trying to develop you anymore. They're just trying to get the already proven players. That's why you see coaches like Deion Sanders prioritize the transfer portal more than he prioritizes high school recruiting, because he doesn't want to develop anymore. He just wants to get the already tailor-made player. And when it comes to the NFL, that's going to continue to dilute the talent that we have coming into the league, because you're not going to have a quarterback that has spent 3-4 years with the same program, has been developed and has improved every single year. You're going to get a lot of these quarterbacks that maybe they only had 1 or 2 good seasons with the program, and then they get drafted high in the first round of the draft, and then all of a sudden they end up not being that good because they didn't get the proper development. They just went to the right system and things were just, lightning meets fire. And then they get to the league, and then it's just a completely different ball game. Why do you think these quarterbacks that come from Lane Kiffin don't end up panning out? It's because of the system. And it's not just the transfer portal that is diluting the talent that we have coming into the NFL draft, but it also is the schemes as well. Because a lot of these schemes that these players are playing in are kind of engineering offense in a sense. They're engineering these players that have a lot of great stats, but they're not really developing them because they're not putting them in systems that are going to be able to help them have success at the NFL level. Like a lot of receivers that come from Tennessee, from that air raid offense, they don't end up being that good because they don't learn how to run the proper route tree. Remember Jalen Hyatt, who won the Biletnikoff Award a few years ago? And he got drafted by the New York Giants. I'll never forget, I saw a clip from a docuseries they did covering the NFL draft prospects. And one of the Dallas Cowboys coaches was saying, bro, you can't run routes. Well, look where that has come to when it comes to Jalen Hyatt's career now. He barely gets in. He's nothing more but a bona fide deep threat or a gadget player that comes in and runs jet sweeps. If he was playing on a school that actually ran somewhat of a pro-style system, he would have been better off for success at the next level. But with the transfer portal now, you got these coaches who are just looking for players who can be plug and play, immediately come into their gimmicky scheme, and not really try to prioritize developing them. If you had more players that were sticking with their programs for 2-3 years, you would have a better talent pool than what you have coming into 2025. Now, that's not to say that this upcoming draft class doesn't have a lot of decent talent, because there is a lot of good wide receivers. There are a lot of good running backs and offensive linemen, but not a lot of these guys are worth being drafted in the first round next year. There's probably about only 10, maybe 15 at the most of guys who are really high-end level players that deserve to be drafted within the first 15 picks. And the transfer portal, with how it has diluted the NFL talent pool, it's to the point where every single offseason, you got guys who probably done transfer 3-4 times. They strike fire with their last transfer. They go to the right school, but they still don't get the right development. So guys now, when they enter the league, you got to have a little bit more patience with waiting for them to develop. Instead of getting a wide receiver that can come in and be good right away, or a corner that can come in and be good right away, you may have to wait 2-3 years for that to happen. There used to be a time where if you drafted a young wide receiver or a young cornerback, they were good right away. Like Marshon Lattimore. He was an elite cornerback as soon as he started his first day for the New Orleans Saints. Malik Nabers is already one of the best receivers in the game. You're not going to have a lot of those kinds of players that are going to come into the league and be ready to produce as soon as day one at a high level. It's going to be similar to the effect that the AAU or AAU basketball has had on the NBA. The NBA has a high bust rate because of one-and-done culture. You got a lot of 17, 18-year-old players who are coming into the league and just don't have what it takes to thrive at the NBA level because they can't adjust to the speed of the game. And that's a similar road that the NFL could be driving down with how the transfer portal is diluting the talent that we have coming into the drafts, because these colleges are no longer prioritizing the development of these young athletes. And these young athletes, they don't care about going to the school who can develop them, who can best prepare them for the NFL. Their mindsets are, I'm going to chase the bag because there's a chance that I might not make it to the league, instead of betting on themselves, going to the team that gives them the best chance to develop. And instead, they just want to get the bag, and they want all of these guarantees that comes with it without putting in the work. That's why Nick Saban retired.